Hi guys, this is Gigi coming on. I'm talking again about the cruise industry, how it was and what it's like now. As I stated in my earlier video, I took my first cruise in 1969. I was 16 years old at the time, and I've seen things, I guess, in some people's eyes, they would say that the cruise industry has progressed tremendously, and in other people's eyes, like myself, I would say that things have gone down in a lot of ways, and I'm going to elaborate on that. Back in '69, when we first began traveling on the ships that we traveled on, they were Norwegian Caribbean. At that time, there were a lot of West Indians that were working on this ship. They were basically like a lot of Jamaicans, a lot of people from mostly Jamaicans and from the Virgin Islands and various Caribbean islands. You may have a couple of Haitians. I don't know that many Haitians, and they did have some people from Central America, mostly South America, but there were more Black West Indians working on the ship. And it was good because we were traveling, the itinerary was a lot of the islands in the Caribbean. So they would take us out when we got to the islands and show us a good time and everything like that. So back in those days, you know, they were the people that worked on the ship, they were very anxious and happy to talk to Black Americans, and they shared things with us. And one thing they shared, which was rather unsettling to a lot of us, was that they did not get, they didn't get like a salary. They got room and board, a place to sleep. They got food every day. But the only money they got were from gratuities from the passengers. And at that time, back in the late 60s, early 70s and so forth, the cruise line was not so diligent in making certain that all of the passengers were paying the gratuities to the people that were due. They are more stringent now about those things, but at that time, people would spend their money. And when I say spend their money, they wouldn't have any money at the end of the cruise, and that was when these people, these workers, the waiters and the people that clean the cabins and all that, they were supposed to be getting paid at that time. And these people had families and everything, and oftentimes they wouldn't get paid from a lot of the passengers. I'm not saying all, but quite a few passengers would not pay, and they would make the passengers would make excuses like, oh, they didn't do their job and all that stuff like that, which was not true at all. They just had spent the money and didn't have it to give to them, which was really terrible. And so imagine my surprise when, like, years later, like 20 years or so later, 30 years later, I'm hearing that it's the same is the same. Those people that work on those ships are only getting the gratuities. They're not getting paid a salary from the cruise lines. That's alleged. That's, like I said, that's what I heard. I don't know how true it is, but hey, if it was true then, I can see it being true now, because like I said, it seems that the only people that are getting really paid are the owners, the people that have invested in these ships. And it's really sad because it's like the haves and the have-nots. And oftentimes the have-nots are these people that are struggling, trying to find a living, a way to take care of their families and everything. And that takes me to the next subject, because when I came back, I think I went back on the ship in 1970, maybe 78, maybe 80. And we were just going on a visit because I married someone that worked on the ship. He was a photographer. And we took our children and went on board the ship for a visit. And we were shocked to see they had people by this time. And I'm not talking negatively about anybody from any place, because anyone has a right to work wherever they can to make an honest living, okay? But what I'm trying to say is the ship owners and all associates, they had started going to other countries to get people to work on the ship. Evidently, the West Indians who had been working on the ships, they got tired of being, it was like a slave. It was like a plantation. It actually was like a plantation. And I guess they felt like they didn't want to work for pennies. So the ship owners and everything, people affiliated with, making sure that the ship had the workers and all that, they started going to places like India, Vietnam, places where people were more impoverished. People, the way I felt, it was like people were more than willing to do whatever it took to have a job, just to have a room and board, have a decent meal every day. And, whereas with the ship owners and everything, I mean, that was like a win-win for them. And, really, if you look at it, I guess the people on the ship, the cruisers and stuff, they didn't really care who was serving them, just so they were getting served. But I looked at a lot of those people, and, it just, to me, it was very sad that, because a lot of those people on those ships, they work more than one job. They have more than one duty, responsibilities and stuff. But what they're doing, they're on a mission. They have a goal. They're trying to feed their families. They may be trying to put money away to open a business of their own or something like that. And I laud them for that. But it's just, like I said, the lengths to which these cruise liners will go to make sure that they get paid. I mean, when I'm saying they get paid because if you don't have to pay somebody a salary, you just providing room and board for them, and the cruisers, the passengers are the ones that are paying these people's their salary. Then hey, you see who's getting over, right? Who's it's a win-win for them. But like I said, I look at a lot of those people, and they look so sad, and like I don't know. Some were happy, some were happy, but then a lot of them had families, and they would be away from their families for long periods of time, but they were just trying to do what they could to provide for their families, And so when it got to the point for me, as someone who has seen how things have changed so tremendously, I just got disgusted. And, especially when on one occasion, one of the bands was, they were playing the song. They were out in the vestibule before you go into the dining area, before dinner. Sometimes they would be out there playing music, and they were playing that song about those old cotton fields back home. I don't know why they would be playing something like that on a cruise, because I would think you would play like popular music or island music or something like that. But they're playing about when those cotton bolls get rotten, you can pick up much cotton. I mean, to me, that was like a slap in my face as a black woman. But like I said, the thing about it is it started appearing to me like it was like a plantation, how the people were being treated and everything. And I just didn't want to be a part of that. I always enjoyed the whole concept of a cruise, but it's just gotten so out of hand. And then you had certain people that had to go around telling other people and so forth that they had stock in the companies, Royal Caribbean and all of that. And I mean, anytime if you have to tell people that you have it, I mean, I don't know, please. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you to let you know how, wherein you may be having a joyous trip and everything, but it's a lot behind the cruise industry, especially today in 2025, as opposed to back in the 1969, 70 and on up. It has progressed in some ways. The ships are much larger, and that may be another topic for discussion, because some of the old cruisers, the people that worked on the ships back in the day, they are very leery of these huge, gigantic ships that they have out there, because I'm not going to get into that right now. But anyway, there are two sides. There are two sides to every story. Okay? So I just want to share from my perspective how it was then, what it's like now. God knows where it's going to escalate to. But just wanted to share that with you. I hope you enjoyed my content. If you'd like to share, or subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much. Blessings.